do a garden update. It's May 5th, I believe, or 6th actually. I have everything outside. Behind this chair as well, some more over there. So, well, let's start over here. These are my snapdragons. I've transplanted them into larger pots, and they seem to be benefiting from that. This is, I believe, to be a cantaloupe. Yes, it's a cantaloupe. That I got a seed from just from a regular fruit that you find at a vendor. This here is cucumber. He's looking a bit sad right now because the sun is very intense and I haven't really hardened these guys off sufficiently, but I'm not worried about it. This is my Linaria, happy to be in a larger pot. I had them in those seed trays over there, right there, for the longest time, and they were just getting so tangled in one another that I finally decided to put them into a larger pot. Who's crying? Who's crying? Where's the kitty? Where's the kitty? Alright, and just to finish off here, this is some more pumpkin, the edible variety that I really like. It's actually a type of squash technically, but I'll just call it a pumpkin because that's what it looks like. Here I have some climbing morning glory and moonflowers, just for decoration purposes. Over here is some watermelon. You can tell by the tapering leaves that this is not like the cantaloupe, although when they're young they look exactly the same. And here I have watermelon, and here a bit of cantaloupe, and the edible pumpkin growing here. It's already starting to vine, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that one, but we'll see. I'm not sure if you can prune pumpkin back. Yeah, this is just another decorative pot that I'm planning on bringing upstate. I have a bunch of vines here. Moonflower, this is snap pea in the back here, some snapdragons. Those seeds that I got from the bank that I don't really know what they are, luminescent something, more Linaria, a bit of hollyhock, although I don't know how that's gonna live in a pot. And here I have some black-eyed Susan vines. So that's a yellow flower, or really more of an orange flower. So that will also be vining. Here I have another cantaloupe. What is this? I don't know what this is. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can fish out the name here. Rocky Mountain Blue. Yeah, so that's what that is. It's a pretty flower. It hasn't grown much recently, so I'm thinking of putting it under my fluorescent lights to give it a little boost. They only get a couple hours of sunshine here. I have another cantaloupe, as I'm a fan of those. These are my peppers that I got from Praxis. Buchalokia, I think he calls them. And they're growing very well. I pruned them back just like he said, and they're growing even more and branching off just as he promised they would. So I'm very happy with that. Here I have some black crim tomato, more watermelon, pepper from last year. It's doing very well. Another decorative pot and basically the same varieties as the other one had. Here I have cucumber growing. This is my oldest cucumber. He's already starting to vine and produce little flowers here, so I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I can't plant these guys upstate for a while, it's just too cold. Maybe the cold hardy plants like this delphinium here, I can. And this is the dwarf quincy plant or tree. So those are doing very well. Just some more snapdragons and delphinium and snapdragons. And of course my beautiful avocado. I had this thing outside in the frost weather. We had frost. It went down to I think 31 degrees, and this was the only thing in my garden I couldn't wrap up because it's about, I don't know, 3.5 feet tall, and it survived really well. No damage whatsoever. So apparently it's invincible. This is actually my Dill's Atlantic Giant pumpkin that I got from the MI Gardener for the competition, and I'm a little concerned because these leaves are huge, the plant is enormous, and I've got it in about as big a pot as I'm comfortable putting it in. It's just going to be impossible to plant this thing outside at some point. And it's really growing very quickly now. And then this is the other one. This is much smaller. so I'm less concerned about this one. It's still manageable, but this, it's gonna work its way up this umbrella. I'll have pumpkins hanging from the top here. Here I have sunflower. So they're kind of leggy. I'm not sure what to do about that, but here I ordered a tree online. It hasn't started to blossom yet, but I did cut it back, one of these branches, and it was green inside, so I think it's alive. And this is the peach, and this is the cherry, also hasn't started growing yet. It was more of an experiment than anything else. I've never ordered trees online, but if these guys don't bloom, I'd probably be cautious to do that again, because you can get them at garden centers for $20 now. This is my mom's present for Mother's Day this Sunday. They're not coming back from Spain until then, and it should be blooming by that time. This is my butterfly bush and a bunch of snapdragons and azaleas. I'm sorry, not azaleas. Wisteria. I've been calling it azalea this whole time. It's wisteria. So they're just annual flowers. Really pretty floral pinks and yellows. Very pretty. Chinka's checking out the lily I got my mom for Easter. They're such inquisitive creatures. More delphinium, more hollyhock. I had to put these guys into larger pots because they just were not having the smaller ones. And they're doing really well. More snapdragon. We have some rosemary and onion here in a really pretty pot. I really like this one. More snapdragon and more delphinium, and then again these flowers from the bank. These are the only ones that survived. I have like 30 of them. They were in awful condition. Here's a sad looking cucumber and his brother doing a little bit better with a hollyhock. He's leaning against that. More hollyhocks and delphiniums. Here I have a kiwi, and kiwi's a vine, so it's vining its way up this butterfly bush that I'll plant upstate. This enormous thing here is my tomato. This is a combination of 3 types. Here I have the beefsteak tomato from Praxis. So this one right here is the beefsteak. I've cut that back. Here's the cherry tomato, and these darker leaves here is the black prim tomato that I got from the refrigerator. Here's a fig tree. I also got this online, and it's doing very well, although it was horrendously root bound. So speaking of azalea, that's that, I think. Or is that? You know what? I can't be reliable. I don't know what it is, but it's very pretty. This here is my pepper plant, the one that I brought indoors. Oh look, a blossom. Very nice. And that's the one that I brought indoors for that freeze. This one I did not bring indoors, and you can see what sort of damage it underwent, but I think it's still alive. Here's a very special hydrangea that I got from a very special person, and it's growing back this year, so I'm very pleased with that. Lelouch is very pleased with that too. He likes to sit on top of this hydrangea like it's a basket of eggs, like he's a little hen. So I had to put a protective wire over it. And just some spring bulbs that have started to sprout. And, well, that's it from my garden. I also got my mother some pretty columbines that I think are just so beautiful or worth mentioning. This is also another plant I got my mother, but what is the name of it? That's escaped me. I don't think I left a tag in here. It's going to be blossoming here, so here are these columbines, and these columbines, they're shade tolerant, so they should be doing just fine here. And I think it's so beautiful. So that's that. And last but not least, I have mushroom logs. This was quite an adventure putting this together. I cut down some ash trees. Well, not some ash trees. I cut down one ash tree, and this is the trunk. It's hardwood. Although I heard that oak is best for chicken of the woods, which is the variety of mushroom I plugged in here. I drilled a bunch of holes with a drill, and then hammered in these plugs these inoculated plugs. Covered them with cheese wax in the ends as well. And I'm actually planning on hanging them from this grate down here because it gets rainwater and it's in the shade, completely in the shade. So in about a year's time, we'll see. It looks so funny, doesn't it? Like something out of Dr. Seuss almost. Yeah. We'll see in about a year's time whether or not it's been successful. But I have high hopes. And that's it for the garden. So that's the whole bunch. Let's see if I can back up and get everything in. I'm really pleased that spring is here. I'm sure everyone else is. Happy gardening!